general practice sustainable. And there are views on that. Merging with Barley gets us to 33,000 patients. Now, over 30,000 is the magic number, because that allows us then to move, which is the whole point of merging, to what is now being termed primary care home. And that will mean that at the moment, if you have care in the community, or you've got home books, a lot of your outpatients, you've got GP surgery, and these are separate entities. You've then got community services for physios, for podiatry, for all the various stuff. You've then got district nurses, and then you've got care. Let's do reablement care, so it's not about long-term care. So it's five different agencies, potentially for one patient who's at home. And this is one of the reasons where it's beginning to creak at the edges, because that's 5 receptions, that's 5 different computer systems, that's 5 phone calls you might need to make. And when admin books need to, or want to get someone out of hospital, and they talk about bed blocking, you can call it what you want, but the trouble is getting patients out of admin books is that they've got to arrange 4 or 5 different people for that care package before they can send them out. So 33,000. We are actually also working in conjunction for the primary care home with Shelford, because Shelford are a natural constituent for us. We're not merging with them. Business-wise, it doesn't make sense. They're not compatible, not at the moment anyway. And that takes us up to 40,000 patients. What that means is that the entire neighbourhood team, which is about 37 community staff, will move into or work with onto the grant system. They'll work off our IT system. Everything will go through our telephone system, and there will be none of this passing around all of the different agencies. That's the beginning of it, that's the first stage of it, and then what the government wants us to do is to then start pulling as many services back as we possibly can. So we're looking at paediatric care as one of them, which will be an early returner. Physiotherapy would be another one, which would come back very quickly. We're talking ophthalmology. So there's a whole range of outpatient services which, when we get to that size, can then come back out into the community. And that's why we have merged. Why with Barley? Because they're a very like-minded, stable practice, high-quality care, and the businesses match. If we get a mismatch of businesses, and the reason we haven't merged with Shelford at the moment is because their business model, their earnings, their staff ratios are so out of kilter with us, is that we couldn't do it. It's not easy merging organisations, and we've done it without any help at all from CCG and NHS England, but that's now being recognised. So we're now being seen probably as the furthest ahead in terms of primary care home nationally. The good thing about that is that that's giving us a lot of attention from fairly senior people in the NHS, which will allow us, if you want not to be negotiating with if you want the local managers who's not really in their interest to sort of support us, we can get the funding much more directly. There's £7 million which is earmarked for community care within that 40,000 patients. We can only identify 900,000, which is spent on identifiable salaried, i.e. the district nurses, the carers, everybody who mainly sit upstairs at Sawston. £900,000, and that is to turn every part-timer into a full-timer. So that's £6.1 million, which isn't being spent on direct care for Sawston patients, Barley patients, Lindsay patients, and we will over time turn that £6.1 million into services that are located in this patch. That's why I'm emerging. Any questions?
Yeah, why couldn't Barley have gone to Lewiston? It's that have been nearer. working a little bit with barley than it is to here.
They're not. It's not compatible. The two practices in Royston are struggling for all sorts of reasons. They're struggling to keep staff. They're struggling financially. It's not brilliant. And Royston is quite fixated on saving their hospital. I won't go into that now, but it's very contentious in terms of the Royston Hospital. They also fit for the primary for the neighbourhood team. So a lot of what Royston Barley does cover an awful lot of what we cover. So they're not. It's not totally alien to us. We do share and we do overlap on our boundaries. So that's why it was.
Yes, Jen.
Can I ask something? Yeah, I mean, it's good that the local services will come back here. That will be really good, because presumably it will mean that local people will be able to attend health centre for treatment rather than having to go to the big hospital. So that's all good. I just wondered whether it's also an opportunity. You mentioned about additional staffing. A lot of people, quite often one of the complaints that they make is about length of time waiting for an appointment, or length of time for the phone to be answered, that kind of thing. Are those going to be improved as a result of this?
All the money which we can pull back into the local system, if you imagine there are 5 different phone systems, 5 different computer systems, if we can pull that back into Granta, we can improve on every aspect of it. So the project plan, which is sitting on my wall, which is massive, there's an initial cost of about, well, I put £400,000, I think it's probably less than that, and that isn't about paying for services, that's about infrastructure stuff. It's about improving our phone system, it's about our IT support, it's about video conferencing across the sites, intranet, internet. So there's a whole range of stuff which we, as a practice, we are funded to do that sort of stuff, and yes, there will be an initial input to get that going. And then, rather than having a switchboard in Peterborough, we know we will have to improve our reception. Our receptionists are very, very good, and I have to say they've got one of the worst jobs, I think, in the practice, and on the whole they are very, very supportive and more like patient advocates, but it's a really, really tough job they've got. I think the current appointments, which are not desirable for us at all, are a little bit more like other practices. We've always had a very, very, if you want, appointments of availability for us has always been very, very good. We haven't had some of the problems which I've had in Cambridge. We are struggling. We've gone through a series of things. We had a couple of doctors who, were off for various reasons, and we're tight. There's no getting away from it. But the demand coming in is unbelievable. It's absolutely relentless, and everything about the elderly population, stuff like that. These are not people wasting our time. We do have some people wasting our time, but these people who genuinely need it, and it is growing unbelievably, and we are seeing that now. There are things which we have done in terms of appointment time. So we employ 2 now emergency care practitioners. So they were first responders for the ambulance services. We have brought those in on our current contract because we realise they are better to go out and see patients than tie up a whole doctor all day going out and doing visits. So we're doing as much as we can, but it's tough. It's really, really tough.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Thank you.
Right. What's the downsides?
The downside is it's done a lot of work. The transition is very difficult because change in any organisation is very, very difficult. The patient reference groups have raised, and I have to say it's the only thing that has actually been raised in terms of a downside, is that if we were to improve, let's say we were to bring in-house paediatric specialists, the likelihood is it won't be across all 4 sites. It probably will be based in Sawston, so yeah, it might be good for Sawston. And the issue of transport has been raised. It's something that's easier to get into Edinburgh than it is to get to Sawston. But when any studies that have been done in terms of people attending outpatients, is everybody, or very, very, very few people take public transport to outpatient appointments on the whole. They all get lifts, they drive in, or car schemes. I think one of the things which we may have to think about, which they excel at in Royston, is a much better car scheme. But we don't charge for parking, we do it at Edinburgh. So I think I realise people are concerned about travel, but I don't think it's borne out in how people actually move around.
The car park's pretty much at capacity a lot of the times in Sawston, isn't it?
It is. When the CQC came, and so we got out sound for CQC with only one complaint which was put into them, and it was that there's not enough parking. And she just laughed. She said, I can hardly put this down in the report because I've never been to a practice that has so much parking. But what we intend to do is extend our hours, and this is another thing which will allow us to do at the moment across Granta, and you can go to any of those practices. We have extended hours 5 days a week. Now it might not be here, but it is at Linton across here. So we've increased our extended hours. And if you're desperate to do a Tuesday morning, we've never done that here. We only did 2 days a week. You could go to Linton if you really wanted, if that's the day you wanted. We will probably move fairly quickly 8 to 8, and by stretching the day, that will also have an impact on the car park.
And how are you off? Just one final question. In terms of the capacity in the building in Sawston, particularly, is there spare capacity in the building?
The building is woefully underutilised. The rent of that building costing the NHS is £45,000 a month. It's a phenomenally expensive building, which we forget it's easy to forget. I go in there every day. When I go around and I look at the facilities we have, we are just, dripping with good facilities. It's probably, if we're at 50% capacity, that's about the utilisation of the building.
I was going to say utilisation of the space.
Yeah, and a lot of that is the building. We've got a minor ops room, which is probably only used 20% of the time. We have a soundproof room, it's probably used 10% of the time. Upstairs, which are the community rooms for physios, are probably about 20% of the time. We have to change the way we work, but we probably go from 2 shifts a day. Well, I say shifts. We tend to do 2 morning sessions, the doctor will do, and then an afternoon. We tend to think in that way. We'll go to 3. Saturdays, we probably will move to Saturdays. It's not hugely popular or successful when it's being done, but that's the type of thing we need to do. It's all about money. It's incredibly tight, and the only limiting factor for us is the amount of doctors, is the amount of money that we can pay doctors and nurses. So the more patients we have, the more doctors and more nurses we can employ.
Was anyone else like to ask a question? Sorry? Okay. Sorry, do you want... No.
Any more questions?
Yes, I said, would anyone else...
Oh, yes, just one other thing. You're taking business away from local firms in Sawston as well, because I used to have my eyes... Hang on, quiet, sir. I used to have my eyes tested at Bilson's, but I've been told now I've got to go to Sawston Health Centre.
That's a CCG, a local commissioning issue. That's not us. That's not actually that's not one of our services. It's a service that uses our room, and actually someone else has raised that with me today. So that has changed. The CCG, which is the local commissioning group, decided that diabetic eye screening is not going out to opticians right across the county. It's not just here, and they have got, I don't know how many specialists. That's not a Sawston decision.
Oh,
So yeah.
Is anyone else? Does anyone in the public have any questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming along and talking to us.
And
It'll be interesting to see how things develop.
Yeah, no, interesting. But you know, if patients or anybody that doesn't have issues, phone me up because I'm always happy to raise these issues, and very often understanding it of patients is easy. But just phone me. 727 555. 77 555. That is the switchboard number. I haven't given you my number, but I'll put it through. And I hope it gets you back.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for coming to talk to us and answering the questions.
Thank you.
Right, so we can now move on to agenda item 236, which is the minutes of the meeting held on the 14th of March. And as usual, I'll go through those by number. So page 109, item 209, 210, 211, 212, 213, over the page, 217, 214, 215, 216, 218, over the page, 219, 220, 221, 222,
Typo 222.
223, 224 over the page, 225, 226, 227, 228, 230, 231.
231 I noticed something as well. The last paragraph.
Sorry?
It's quite familiar.
Which paragraph?
The
Sorry.
last paragraph on the page, sorry, 231.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kevin attended the last panel meeting.
Councillor Cuffley is referred to in different terms from the other councillors referred to.
Oh, right, okay, yes. Yes, okay, yeah, that should be it, yeah. I mean, I think it's more professional actually to have council or anything.
So it's over the side on it.
Yes, yeah.
It's very familiar.
He's right in the next
Yes,
few.
yes, yeah. And it's Councillor Kevin Cuffley at the end, as you'll notice.
Yeah,
That's good. Right, so 229, and that concludes the minutes. Apart from that minor and typographical issues, there's a really wonderful for the site. So I propose Burdett, seconded by Colin, all in agreement. Okay. So, Robert, are you happy with that? Okay, so that's unanimous. Right, we move to the planning and environment agenda item 238. So again, page 1, agenda item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over the page. 6, 7 over the page, 8 and 9.
Just out of interest, sorry, on item 7, Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Did anybody else notice that I asked him a question with the dubious failed to answer? Did we make a note of this? I asked him what the deficit of planners over the continent was. He said he was struggling to employ people.
Yes, yes.
And I asked him how many people there were still situation vacant, and he didn't actually answer
I
that.
don't think straight answers to questions was particularly speciality.
But this is
It's a bit disappointing. It's quite glad to have known how badly they were struggling to employ staff, which was one of these.
well, yes, I mean, it is an issue because, as you know, we compete in the private sector. They're rather better than the local government, and because we're a green system. But I
wouldn't mind.
I get that figure for you.
Yeah, it would just be interesting to know the scale of the problem, wouldn't it?
Yes. Okay. 8 and 9. So we've already signed those executive records of that meeting. Proposed by Alison, seconded by Neil. Thank you very much. Sorry, those in favour. Sorry. Okay. Becky, you happy? So we can move to the minutes of the finance Council General Purposes Committee, just held on the 4th of April, and I'd like to thank them here for chairing that. So again, by number, paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, over page 6. Joan, who's next?
Sarah Burns.
June, Janet, and all those in favour. Thank you. Thank you very much. Right, staff management, which I think is a verbal update, isn't it? Yes. And basically, just very briefly, we had a meeting on 29th of March to confirm the appointment of the lizard picker, Mike Ruffhead, who was about to complete his 6-month probation, and that was confirmed with them. Does that have to be approved?
That is fine.
Yes, that doesn't have to be approved by the council. So that's basically it. I mean, it's been quite satisfactory, so there were no major issues. Council month, which have been circulated.
I've put another one on the...
Oh, yes.
Got a new one, because I've had it
Yes.
through the new
Right, so if you could... You'll notice there are 3 invoices, CB Mowers, Burkitts and Thurlow Nunn, which are in addition to the ones which are already circulated. So are there any comments on those? Do I have a proposal then they've accepted? Neil, Janet, and all those in favour of paying those invoices?
Can I just ask a question?
Yes.
For information? Looks like the battery for the defibrillator is 235 quid. Right, so still at about 6 foot from the bottom.
Yes, it's just above the Travis Perkins line.
It seems very soon for it to be needing replacement.
I was wondering, and
That's one of the first ones that we did.
the reason
That one's
for
in
that.
May, the
Yeah,
battery.
I just wondered whether we had any anticipation
I'm
about
budgeting.
how many replacements
Yeah, well, I know,
we'll need.
Well, I think, I can't remember if it's every 4 or 5 years. But yeah, I mean, we have to budget for the
Yes, of course. I just
but
wondered,
yeah.
I don't remember that cost being mentioned when we were installing them.
Well, you're going to have to replace the batteries and electrodes.
Well, they would have made
Yeah, no, because when you take the defibrillator out, it's the battery on the actual machine.
Yes.
That even though it's in the unit, but the unit's just holding the actual defib itself.
Yeah.
It runs off the
That's
battery.
fine, I just don't remember it being discussed as an ongoing cost when we were installing them all. I think it's probably useful to know because if it's that kind of amount, it's going to add up for the number that we
I
have.
mean, I think probably for compiling future budgets, I'm sure that we have
that would be obviously
I agree with that. Okay. So, all those in favour of Right, so no planning applications. You will receive an invitation to the Smithson Hill exhibition about the agritech development on the 16th and 17th of May. That's simply for information, so just a comment. Discussion on Sawston Trade Park. Again, this is mainly for information. We were approached by the developers, I think it was about 3 weeks ago, who came and briefly outlined what they're proposing to do. No great secret about it, it's now on their website, and they have an exhibition on the 20th of this month, so that's next Thursday.
When you say, Chair, that they came to see us,
Well, yes, Chair, the clerk, myself and the Vice Chair.
but why would they come and see
Well, simply
Rather than, for example,
to alert us that the item is coming up, which it has come up. It is fully in the public domain, so there was no secrecy.
I wasn't suggesting there was secrecy. It's just...
They just wanted to come in to tell us
I just
what they were doing, that they were going to do the leaflets next.
I know this is kind of actually in Canvaswood.
It is in Parish, yes.
Would there come a point when it's appropriate to ask them to come and meet us at the parish? Would that be helpful at some point?
It could be, yes.
Yeah.
I just don't
I think
understand
that
why...
would be quite useful to.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be quite useful.
Yeah,
We could do that.
yeah.
Because if you and the deputy chair are representing the parish,
Well,
It's a meeting.
no opinion was
When is it?
express any opinion on it. It was just simply for information, that's all.
But information for only...
Share that information
That's
with
what
us.
it's on here, but they've just got their leaflet out.
It's in the public domain, so, so...
If they're coming into the office, it seems a shame that that information wasn't shared with the rest of the council.
Well,
As Councillor Mills is saying, if they were coming in anyway, why not let other
it
people
is
know about
on
it?
there, well, because it was a morning, and, not many people are available.
Well, you
Yes.
An email would have been sent round afterwards.
somebody wants to present to the parish council, then we should be given the opportunity of having that information at the same time as yourself and the deputy chair. You have no privileged position to attend those meetings without inviting the rest of the council.
It is the purpose of the meeting was simply to inform us that they're putting in the application. There was no discussion of the application, and as I say, it is fully in the public domain, and there's a public exhibition on the 20th, next Thursday, which I'm sure you will be able to attend. We now proceed. If we now proceed to agenda item 2.5, consideration of quotations for 3-year verges in contract.
Okay, so we've had, 3 quotes for the grass cutting contract. It depends if we're going to take on the slip carry under the verges at South Cans.
Yes.
We took on, which I guess we will.
Yes. I think yes.
Well, in that case, I've only got two
Well,
quotes.
they are actually county council verges. So
County
they're not
council,
transferred to the county.
So to do all the areas that we currently cut, and then to do all the verges that we're taking on from the county that they didn't do last year. I've got 2 quotes for that. The third quote never actually came through in time. One is £571.69 plus VAT per cut. And the one is £995 plus VAT.
Well, I think that's clearly clear.
Did also get for all the areas,
Yeah.
that cut by counting that as well, but obviously we don't.
Yes. Yeah.
We need to discuss that, and
Yeah, so I was going to say,
because I don't know if they're on a contract.
Before we
Okay.
make a decision on that, can we revisit that conversation that we were having towards the end of last year about who's going to do what in terms of the
Yes. I mean, I think that's probably a discussion which it would not be appropriate to have now, because we need to
This is
make
free
this
contract,
contract, which we need to start. I think basically it's a matter of coordinating contracts, and South Cam started a contract last year, and I think we would need more notice if we were going to try and if we were trying to get an estimate. I doubt very much whether it would be in our interest to take over all the South Cams areas, because certainly in their experience in the county, the amount that we spend on cutting them is considerably more than we get in rebate, and I suspect that would be the case for South Cams. But I'm certainly prepared next time this comes up to with more notice to try and put that forward. Okay.
Well, sorry.
This is free, this will be a free contract.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so there's quite a long commitment that you're
Well,
asking
yes,
for.
but as I say, it is fairly urgent to get this in place, because the service needs to
So it's a little bit late to have the
It
conversation.
is now, yes. And it was when it was first raised as well. Thank you.
How many cuts per year?
That's right, up to 12.
Sorry, yes.
Up to 12.
But obviously it depends on the weather, because as you know, we have a dry summer. We often can miss cuts during August, and similarly this week we have it up to more.
Can you explain why there's, you might not know, Joe, why there's such a vast
I
difference?
don't know. Even the quote for all the areas as well. There's
Yeah.
vast
Same area,
difference.
It's the
Yeah.
same area, they're all provided with
yeah.
the same definitive maps. So
Right.
it is, they're quoting for exactly the same.
One
way.
CGM and the other.
We're not to give names.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Okay.
we're doing quotes.
So we have an estimate of 571 per cut to 951.
995.
995, sorry.
I was going to say that the lower one is
The lower
who we
one.
are currently using,
Yes,
so as long as
yeah.
everyone's happy.
Right.
And we budgeted for up to
Yeah.
6K.
Do I have a second for that?
Oh,
Sorry, well, Alison proposed.
Oh, right.
Yeah, let me
You want me to second?
Yes.
Yes.
So, all those in favour of letting that contract?
yeah.
That is unanimous, thank you. Seed fertiliser and soil for grounds.
So, sorry, Mr. Chairman, before we go on to that, can we put a marker in the ground to make sure that we
Yeah.
have a discussion about
Yes, you
aligning the
can do,
contracts
yes.
at the earliest point?
Yes,
there?
yes, yes.
I
Because
think particularly
It'll take some months, I think, to
Because then it doesn't need
resolve, shall we
to,
say.
yeah, it wouldn't need to coincide with,
Yeah.
I'm sure they've got contracts.
I mean, I'm happy to look into it, but I wouldn't hold out any huge hope that we would save significant amount of money, or indeed it would probably cost us actually to do it, but that's just my...
Well, you may find, for example, Mr. Chair, that in context of grass cutting, where you get ridiculous things where you've got 4 foot of grass on one side of the pavement and beautifully manicured on the other, and dangerous access to the bypass, for example, which we've had, strange bits of grass not cut in between the village name sign and the speed limit. There's a whole raft of stuff over this that is clearly vexing our local residents, and we really got a duty to try and sort this out.
Yes, I mean, that particular circumstance, as you're aware, was because the contract was transferred to the county without parishes or members being involved. And I have raised that as a which I think that was it's not something I'm proud of from some accounts, it's something I'm ashamed of.
Chairman,
Quite serious.
does the contract should include clearing the leaves which are dead?
Not leaves,
And if you
no.
pass through,
Right, yeah,
for a change, you can enjoy a walk through to come here.
yeah.
Now the grass is cut, but there are a lot of dead leaves there.
Not like they're supposed to cut the grass and then just wipe the pavements and stuff.
Yeah.
Not lift the leaves.
No.
It doesn't matter.
They use the leaf blower, don't they?
The blower.
The grass blower, yes.
And if there are any areas that you notice that aren't being kept,
Yeah.
let me know, it's on.
Not from what I've seen.
Right, seeds.
Okay, so agenda item 247 is starting
Oh, hold on, we
Sorry,
haven't seen.
sorry.
Yeah, I'll say-
Sorry, yes. Sorry, seeds and fertilisers.
Okay, so this is
Sorry, too quickly.
Alan's, seed fertiliser
Yes,
as well for the year. So it's all been budgeted for, but it's just agreeing you can have it. So seed for the year. Seed, he needs 10 bags, which is used for everywhere, so cemetery, grounds, recreation grounds. And for the 10 bags, we've got 3 quotes of 694, 790 and 846.
Go for those.
Yes.
Now,
Is that in keeping with the budget?
4, 5. We've got
Yes.
6 different items on here, which is all seed fertiliser, so we better just vote, do a proposal on each item.
So we don't have to have one package from one supplier?
No, because they're all from different places, you can't get
No,
certain
okay.
things.
So shall we
go for the 694?
take the C first? Do I have a proposal for Kieran, Brian, okay. And those in favour?
Sorry, it's going to be...
Okay.
Right, fertiliser. This is fertiliser that's used just for the cricket square. 5 bags at £110.68. We can only get one quote. It's a company that we always use. And if that's right with you, Mr. Mallows, so we can't.
These are,
There's
this is quite a
certain,
special.
yeah, there's certain items you can't get.
I suppose we go for those.
Yes, okay, proposed by Beck, seconded by Rob.
Yeah.
All those in favour?
Thank you. Right, weed killer, which is used for everywhere, including footpaths, etc. 20 litres that will do the year, £80. Again, that's something I haven't got one quote for.
One bit of information. Is this weed killer for everywhere in the village?
Well, no.
This is on our own.
Oh, well, yeah, we don't do.
No.
Oh, just
You can't just spray
you
weed
can't.
killer.
No, but we have
Churches
had previously weed killer operatives operating in the village, haven't we?
Yes, but they're...
And the district
That's
council,
it.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, they're,
county council.
it depends whose land it's on.
Yeah.
Okay. Has that been cut back?
Don't know. No, we're just doing what we normally do. This is-
No.
Oh, right, I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I think they have on
Point of
the,
information for another time.
you know, they do they go along the curves. I
Yeah,
know that
sure.
was cut back because county told us
Yeah.
that they were doing it 3 times, you know, cut down to 2. So that has been.
Would you mind asking? Because that again, you know, we in terms of the state of the village, when we've got weeds growing and they get particularly bad, I mean, they get quite high, and it just detracts significantly from the
Makes a big
appearance of
difference.
the
I think it
village.
dissuades people from walking as well. It's a bad
Yeah.
thing, isn't it? But yeah, there's several footpaths where you get head-on nettles.
Okay, so yes, so that's 80.
Okay,
So we used to know the farm would.
so we have one quote
Just one for that.
for £80.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so do I have a proposer? Alison, Janet, all those in favour?
Thank you. And then there's this stuff, is it phenol? I can't think what the word for it. It burns the lines into the pitches. Now 5 litres will last about 3 years, so this is just the one-off payment, 161.42.
And that again is a considerable quantity.
Yes, right. So
Proposed by Beck, seconded by Neil. All those in favour?
is that everyone? So thank you. Right, soil. So you'll normally 20 tonne soil for the year, which will be recreation grounds and cemetery. We can only get this from one company again, and that's £430, excluding that. But that will last the whole year.
Quick question. Why do we need so much?
Because we have to, for the graves, it uses it. We have to, the graves, cemetery uses quite a lot.
All the hedge out and load that off.
And for pictures, we have to redo the garden.
If we don't order it, we want it, don't get it, don't
So we might actually not use
We'd
it.
rather order it all now. We'll know he
Thank
can
you.
use all this and we'll order it within 6 months, at least then he knows he can have it. So that's 430.
Do I have a proposer? Kieran, all those in favour? Okay.
Right, last thing. Okay, he has to spray cemetery and cricket square quite regularly. He used to have the use of the Bowls Club sprayer, and we just use the spraying stuff. Unfortunately, we don't have the use of the actual sprayer now, and we do understand that the cricket square does need to be sprayed. So I've got 3 quotes for the actual spraying machine, which obviously once we've got it, it's ours. So 595 plus VAT, 625 plus VAT, and 675 plus VAT.
Can I ask why the Bowls Club is sort of ending its days?
It's just no longer available.
They decided to be arsy about it.
Yes.
Well, you could
It's
put
no
it that
longer
way.
I think that's an affirmative answer.
I think it's better for the own anyway, at least we can control it.
Well, let's take a resolution that we're not going to
Okay, well, just, yes. So, yes, I'm afraid that is an additional expenditure, but there is a
But there is,
budget.
there is
Yes, yes.
machinery.
It's got it within his budget.
It's,
Yes, yes.
yeah, it'll have to come out of this machine budget.
Yeah, so,
For something that's not used very much, it seems to be
Oh, that is, isn't it?
that we can't.
That's used a lot. It's all sprayed and the cricket spray.
Considering that councils are often trying to get us to pay for things entirely that will benefit nobody except them, it does seem a bit. Can we write the letter asking nicely? I'm sure it is.
I'm sure that they haven't really been asked that. So.
Yes.
Okay.
In actual fact, they would save quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
Sorry?
They would save quite a lot of money on contractors. The cemetery needs spraying desperately
Yeah.
for daisies and things like that. But you can't go in there with a big machine. If you've got your own, you haven't got to beg to buy.
So,
595?
Propose the lowest quote.
okay, so Brian, Neil, okay. All those in favour?
Thank you.
Right, 247, over the page 247. You'll recall that we've had a couple of developments recently, and as I say, we don't happen all that often, and it was noticeable when I was going through the standing orders for how to do this, that there wasn't actually anything in the standing orders, and I felt that there ought to be something in there which indicates the procedure to be followed. We've consulted the CAL, and this basically before you is the wording which they come up with.
On the table.
Yes.
Is there any reason why this didn't come out before?
Because I've only had it today.
Yes, well,
But no, I've been waiting for confirmation, and I spoke to the guy this morning, so I always get direct answers from them, so otherwise we'll just send it out.
but
You can't do it with
I
English.
can't, I was going to say. I'll just do, if I had it, I would have sent it to you.
Sure.
I mean, it's
In fact, the email that is...
You'd have emailed me, wouldn't you?
I mean, it's only 39 lines. I'll just give you a chance to read it.
I see on the wording here, we say that once someone's been turned down, if it's early on in our sort of our term, they've got to wait then until the next one. Why can't it be like a 6-month wait? If we give them some,
Yes, I mean, all this is saying is that it's at the discretion of the parish council as to whether they...
it does say no need to consider them at future call.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that they can't
Doesn't mean
consider
that
them.
they
No, it doesn't mean so.
It's implying there's no, that when we have the next call, you don't automatically consider the next person.
Janet?
I was going to ask if there's any other advice that could help.
Well, there was advice which I felt was probably not really for as a going standing orders, and that was just a general comment that when you co-op between terms, that you should be looking to fill skills gaps on the council. I mean, that was advice, that's all.
I suppose the other thing... I mean, the other thing that I was concerned about, and which I don't know whether CAP gives some advice on this, is that the process for co-option should be as robust as the process for when a person puts themselves forward at the actual time for election, May 18, 2018 being the next one. And in particular, my understanding is that for co-options, there isn't a requirement that an individual is endorsed by 2 members of the public who are on the electoral roll.
Or notice any political affiliations,
Yes.
for example, that you normally
Can we put those kind of things in our standing orders? Because I just would prefer that co-options are as robust.
Well, that's not a legal requirement. That's the
Is it something that we could add? Because it seems to me fair.
I think
if we're going to do it at the election time, then the same standards ought to apply.
Rather than make that modification and remove, I'd rather take that back to the power council. Because I wouldn't want to put anything it was actually illegal.
Okay.
So I think we ought to check the legality of that. So if you're happy to defer this to the next meeting, then I think that's probably the best way of dealing with that.
Yes, because I think the other thing that would be useful would be to have some information on our website, where I'm fairly sure there won't be anything at the moment about what to do if you're thinking of applying for co-option. For instance, one of the first things we say is it would be a good idea to come to some meetings and make sure you know what you're in for and just get to know the ropes of it. And I'm sure we can provide other information there. But I agree with Janet. I think it needs to be much more robust and formalised, because there was also a peculiar situation at the previous co-option where the candidate was asked to leave the room, but then we didn't have any discussion. We have previously had discussions about people who were up for co-option, where people have worked with people in the past and shared opinions about them, which were quite useful in deciding whether they be useful additions to the council or not, which is what we need to decide. And our last candidate had a very specific set of skills, which I think many of us felt would have been very useful for this council, which is currently rather lacking. And we weren't actually able to discuss that at all. And it means you get no idea, for instance, of who voted which way. Just as maybe. But I think an element of discussion would be useful.
So I felt there wasn't any significant consideration given co-option. There's no significant discussion between us.
We'll talk about so I just
I shall defer it to the next.
I think I'd also like to see some more of it. So there were some technical aspects as well of co-options about how soon before an election you can have them, I think, as well, aren't there? So it might be worth.
I wasn't actually aware of that, but if a casual vacancy occurs, it's not quite the same thing.
Right. So
then there's a 6-month rule, isn't there?
So what might be useful is to see what information like that could be usefully put on the website.
Yeah, sure.
As Beck suggested, and with some advice about it.
I was just going to say that in putting advice on the website, I still think that we ought to be encouraging people to actually stand at the point when elections are supposed to take place. I mean, theoretically, it's better for people to serve a full term. Council could better work as a team and people are there for the full length of time. So I was just thinking that we ought to be trying to encourage people to stand
and also, of course,
when elections take place.
And also, of course, a contested election is one of the requirements for equality in a parish council. Well, you remember you had this quality parish council status, and one of the requirements was that there should be a contested election.
Well, yes, because if you don't have the opportunity to vote, then you can't get rid of anybody that you don't want to have. I think in the past there has been, I've made the same point, Janet, that couldn't we do some active recruitment and get some more people on board, particularly in areas where we know we definitely lack skills. But I think one of the problems is that the number of people we're allowed for verges this size is actually quite large, isn't it? I mean, we've still got...
Yes, it's according to, it's according to a standard formula which relates to the
but it does feel as though the number of people in the room is already quite unwieldy. I think we felt in the past that if we were operating, we felt fairly efficient.
It would be possible to request a reduction in numbers, but that would have to come forward as a proposal from this council if we felt we wanted to do that. And if we did, as you're aware, there's a all-out parish council election in 2018. If members wanted that to go on the agenda of a future meeting, then...
Do you want that on the agenda next time?
I'm very good view about the numbers other than how we fit in if we had a full complement.
It shouldn't be determined simply by physical space. I think
it's an issue that we're talking about.
represent the village, isn't it?
Yes, but given that we've got a wholly inefficient purpose-built parish council office, I think we have to think about the logistics of it because, where are people going to sit?
Well,
You've got spices and
yes, yeah.
For the walnut room.
There's a lovely flat above the off licence.
So, there's some discussion spiralling out somewhat. So basically, we're deferring this item to clarify whether we can add those suggested amendments. And
Can we maybe do a round robin in the meantime? So that we've got
oh yes,
so we've got more information
well, I mean
before we come back and try and take a decision. What's information we have where?
yes, yes. I mean, ideally, they should have been circulated for the meeting because we had a difficulty in getting a response, a timely response from the council. That was the reason why it happened. So yeah, normally this would have come out with your papers. Yeah. Okay. Right. So update on the project.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I think at the last full parish, we reported that we'd had a good meeting with Baberham Council about this question of boundaries. Well, since then, we have met with Campisford as well. That was on the 30th of March. And again, we had a very helpful meeting and we explored both the advantages and disadvantages of going forward as an open plan with three councils. There was a lot of positive vibes about it all. Where we are now is that we are waiting for Campisford and Baberham to go back to their own full councils and discuss it locally and then come back to us about how they want to improve, or how they want to proceed. In any event, we have a meeting in the diary with them for the 15th of June, so whatever happens we have a further meeting. And meanwhile, obviously, we need to get on with engagement with the public on the Labour plan generally, get a feel for what support there is in the village and what sort of items that people think should be included in it. And this will be discussed at our annual parish meeting on the 2nd of May.
I mean, I think what so before we proceed much further, we did agree, I think, at our meeting that we would take it back to our individual parish councils to whether we wanted to have an area including all three, Baberham, Campisford and Sawston as well. So ideally, I think we ought to take a vote on that at this meeting. So, I mean, if anyone would like to discuss that, that's...
Sorry, at this meeting today?
Yes, so to give an indication, you'll recall that meeting, because really before we can start, we need to know the area. So before really we can do anything, we need some, if we wish to go down.
We haven't got a proposal, Mr. Chair.
Well, that's
we can do it for the time. We can go back to that.
You can't have a proposal or a vote on that's not on the agenda, can you? Or you have an update. Yeah, but that's the update. To vote whether we want to combine our parish with one or two other parishes for the purpose of writing a neighbourhood plan, I think is something you can't just...
I understand the spirit of what you're talking about is on the letter of what's there.
Yes, it's a spirit, yes.
But not the letter.
Yes,
so you do want to go beyond what's written there.
And you understand that I would be keen to actually move it forward by taking a vote, but I don't think it's...
Well, I mean, you defer it to the next meeting.
That would enable us to get feedback from the 2nd of May meeting as well, which is quite important. I think we do need to get
I think if the whole neighbourhood plan thing is not going to be seen as purely concerning the parish council, I think that would be a very good idea to get some feedback from the public meeting and see what people think.
So we could have a formal motion about that at the meeting. That'd be good.
But in terms of the discussion that we've been having with them, clearly for two local, relatively small neighbouring parishes, such as Baberham and Campisford are, I mean, they had some questions about what the potential downsides were, which I think generally were, well, they were certainly addressed.
Yes, they
Even
were.
whether they weren't necessarily answered entirely, but they were certainly addressed. And for Sawston Parish Council, it's obviously far less significant than it is for Abraham and Hammersmith. So the critical thing for us, I think, is that they agree to it themselves and come back to us. The question then, really, particularly in the context of the annual parish meeting, is whether we mind whether they join us or not, and go ahead and promote in terms of getting information out there about what the possibilities of a neighbourhood plan are, about what the contribution from the residents here would need to be, because there's going to have to be a lot of voluntary contributions, and so on. And I'd rather do something of that ilk, irrespective of whether Abraham or Hammersmith formally want to join us. Because we have an indication that they do, but it's got to go through their formal process. So if we can take that into account for the annual parish meeting, I think that would be
I think we were hoping to have someone from South Cambridgeshire.
Yes, he did speak to Alison talking to us
as well.
She or a substitute would be happy to do that.
So all those kind of issues we can discuss.
Yeah, it is in their diary.
If there's any questions like what you just written, they can all be answered on that.
So this is somebody to come along when?
Yes, yeah.
So the public who are there will be informed about it as much as everybody else would say.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting, for example, to know whether South Cambs has any collateral that they could lend us for the period. So, for example, posters or that sort of.
I can certainly find out that. Yeah, that's absolutely no problem.
So that people could, read stuff, look at it. Could get something on the website beforehand, so people could.
Well, we're there on Thursday, aren't we? So we can certainly ask if we've got any posters, so we can provide. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's fine.
No problem.
Yeah, okay. So, are there any other issues on that? Was there any? Okay. Right, so we move on to consideration of youth work provision for the summer holidays, which was something we've done before, and we'll see paper circle with your agenda, with your agenda. So basically, they're asking whether we wish the bus to visit during the summer holidays.
What's the general feedback been from this?
I don't know, it's the first time I've seen it. They said as per last year, but I don't remember an asking last year.
That's the one.
Yeah,
It is,
did they? What do you mean? No, it's a bus.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be nothing to do with that.
So
They go on the bus and then they
They've been here before and we think they haven't.
well, I don't actually, I was quite surprised by that, because I don't recall having them.
Well, they don't say they've been here before. They've said they're able to offer it again this year.
As per last year.
As per last year, I didn't mean to say that, they're able to offer it again, but not.
But I don't actually remember it being offered.
No, I don't think, no.
I think one of the things that where there's a gap to me is there's no indication of how people will be recruited, and is the idea just that a bus would appear at Mill Lane and they will come.
Well, outside the post office.
Yeah, on the corner, yes.
Perfect. Absolutely. Yes, they're in about.
Yes, I think we need a bit more information. The other thing I was going to clarify is, does this mean the Parish Council is being asked to fund this?
Yes.
£700 for 4 sessions.
Times 4. Is that the funding? Because it's not really very clear. Do they need to fill in one of our forms to
Well, they should do, really.
I'm not sure that they're asking for a charitable donation, they're asking for us to fund the youth work in the way that we fund other youth projects.
Don't we need to coordinate this with Romsey Mill? Because
Yes, also there are other groups as well in the village that run holiday clubs as well. You know, so there is, the bus, as I recall, it's been going for some years. So my memory might be probably the early years we might have set up. But as I understood it, it was to provide a facility for the smaller villages which could move around. So
I think the issue is I know with what Bex has said, is the fact that we have got other groups. You've got the summer group that we have anyway, and that's a younger age group. You've got the Romsey Mill, you've got the...
Sorry, you're talking about the summer reading challenge in the library?
No, we've got some...
Sorry, one at a time.
I said we've got a summer group already that the college already run. So
And I can't remember whether Romsey Mill runs through the summer or whether we do actually have a gap there. But I would have thought we might actually, if we wanted something in the summer and Romsey Mill don't do the summer, then I would have thought it would make sense if we were going to fund something, we thought that was a good use of funds, to actually give them first refusal, as it were, given that it's all about building up relationships, and that's what they're working on the rest of the time.
I mean, I think for what's being offered here, that is actually quite a lot of money.
I think it's an awful lot of money, and from what I gather, from the smaller villages that it's offered to, it's not that well supported anyway. So, personally speaking, I'm not in favour of this at all.
You're not alone.
No. Right, you want to propose that we don't...
Yeah, I'm quite prepared to propose that.
And you're proposed to say that, yes, okay.
Well, it's okay, because they're suggesting leaflet racks.
Well, we're not going ahead because...
They're suggesting leaflet racks are available, so...
So on what basis?
On what way?
Are you thinking of this isn't like that?
Because we've already got a lot of groups that are doing it.
Yeah.
So they go right through the summer, right?
Yes, they do go right through the summer. Yeah. They go the way through the summer. That's why they're called summer groups.
Do we want to check, just in case, do we want to check to make sure they definitely go through the summer?
They go
Summer group.
Why would they call a summer group if they don't? So the summer groups we've got in the village go through the summer.
You know, just because there seems to be a little bit of issue over whether there was or wasn't. So.
They do exist.
Because even if groups don't run through the summer, I just wonder where 4 2-hour sessions is not exactly extensive coverage, is it?
Especially for £700.
Yeah. I think, and I agree with what Bex said, is we could, that Romsey Mill could use that.
I mean, if the summer group you're talking about runs from college, I think one of the pros of Romsey Mill, which they'd always said was important, was that they were outside of school and separate from school. So, basically, if you were somebody who was having a lot of problems at school, they offer you an escape.
We have Cambridge United and that do summer clubs.
Yeah, they do.
Cambridge United and that they do at Belbird and it throughout the school as well.
This is quite different though to a holiday club. I mean, it's a specific, sessions, drop-in designed to encourage Year 7 children in antisocial behaviour, reducing antisocial behaviour. So, I mean, it might be worth asking them, clarifying they haven't been to Sawston before, and maybe, any feedback they've had from other villages. I mean, I think it sounds like it could be quite useful.
I don't know.
The only thing is looking at what's available there, stuff like specially designed seating areas for conversation and craft. Well, the kids can sit down and talk. They don't need a bus for that. Computers with internet access. A lot of people do have that.
I think you're being a bit,
I think for £700, I think it's expensive.
It's expensive, isn't it?
I assume it's specific, and it would be useful as well to know how they attract all the Year 7 children. Do they write to them all and encourage them to come? How's it actually organised?
So the thing that worries me, this bus suddenly sort of rolls into the village and stop, you know, for 2 hours, and you know, you may notice it or you may not notice it.
Maybe we can get Sainsbury's to sponsor it. Shall I write to Mr. Mills and give him the opportunity?
It would be a great, what a great thing to do, wouldn't it?
Right, but we need to set a vote on not going ahead with it, and then...
Yes, okay. So just
For more information.
For more information, yeah, I'd propose that if you like.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Some function proposals.
Well,
So
do you want to?
we're proposing a deferral, right?
If your proposal is a vote, I'm quite prepared to stand down on my proposal.
Right, okay.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah. Okay, so those in favour of deferring this item to the next meeting in May. Okay.
And is it West Northampton?
Yes, it is. Yes. We do that in the meantime.
Yeah, they're doing over the summer. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to agenda item 250, quotation from automated opening device of power doors from Parish Council as recommended in the prior inspection report. As I understand, we don't have much option as to whether we do this work.
I don't know, when we had the survey done, they're saying that our doors are fire doors, but they're saying that we should have a wireless door holding device, so if the doors are open, if there's a fire, they'll automatically close.
Yes, it's all electric and things.
I'm not sure we actually need...
Sorry, but yeah, do we ever leave the doors open?
Well, yeah, my office door's open, that door's open.
Oh, the internal doors?
Yeah, internal doors,
Yeah.
So, I mean, a quote to have this, to install, test and certify the doors, there's 6 doors here, it would be £998. But I did ask if we had to do this or if it was a recommendation, and he has said it is a recommendation in British standards, which means that no one is going to force you to do it, but they should be done in most instances.
So what is your personal view, since you work in this building, in your...
I don't know if it's a necessity, because to be honest, if there's a fire, I'm going out. Go around and shutting the door.
You have fine. Just to make sure.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, so I don't know if it's just really something we don't need to do. If we don't accept the risk, then they give us a thing we have to sign to say that state the reason for managing the risk, which outweighs.
My only concern with this is the fact that we've got a lot of paper in the loft area.
Yeah, I suppose, shutting the doors
If that comes dry, that's like tinder paper, and that will go like nothing. And believe, you may think you've got a lot of time to get out of the building.
It can be,
But don't you generally keep most...
I mean, to be quite honest, the only doors that are open are my office door and Anne's door.
And your route out of the building
Is that door the window. So, I mean, all the other doors are always shut anyway. It's only a few.
As I say, I'm prepared to take a recommendation on your advice, because you're the person who works here, and you know what would make it safe.
Have you got door closers on your doors?
No, that's what this is.
Yeah.
So,
How much?
yeah.
For how many doors?
6 doors, 998.
Every
They're putting them on every door.
Toilets as well.
Testing and certifications.
Yes,
That's ridiculous.
Brian, it's not the... Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, should it not actually say shutting rather than opening?
It is shut, yes.
Yeah, because it shuts. So that if there's a fire, you know, if you're in a particular room, you're shut in that room, and that protects you, if you like, from the fire. They have this saying in a care home. Yeah, so it's a time lock. So I don't know, you'd have to sort of risk assess.
Isn't that what these are, if we didn't have them propped open?
But no, that's the point. If there's a fire, they automatically
There's an electric magnet that holds the door open.
so I don't have to go around and shut
If
the door.
there's a fire, if you go into a care home, for instance, if there's a fire, then all the fire doors shut. And it's the same in the arts theatre. They just shut. So you're confined in this area. So if we had a fire in this building, then that door would shut automatically and we would exit over there. So actually it will protect us as well if say the fire was the other side of the building.
Well, but
So perhaps it needs a bit more risk assessing. And
Well,
also
this is the recommendation.
I think you say
When we had the risk
technically
assessment.
that all should be shut anyway, and then if there was a fire, we'd all go out of there anyway, because it's got a
you can't, the thing is for the lot of it all boils down to where the fire is.
Yeah, yeah.
So the fire's there, you've got that door shut,
Yeah.
how are you going to get out?
Well, if there's an automatic closing thing on the door,
No,
they're going to get out anyway.
That's
maybe
next it,
stop.
so you go through there.
Kieran has his hand up.
Well, just because I don't think that this, the design of this room would actually allow that to be put in. Because if you look at it at the moment, we couldn't have it open on the electromagnet because of having chairs in front of it. And I can't believe that this is actually fireproof.
No, it's not.
You've got the fireproof things there on the window.
Okay, right.
But
You'd have to, you can't open them that way, so all the way back, so you'd have to have something jutting out so that they would be held at at 90 degrees. I would have thought that I would think that if it's not worth doing it on these doors, then we only have another 2 doors that's...
Well, I mean,
worth
six
doing.
doors would seem to include the toilets as well.
Well, that's what they quoted for us on this.
I can't quite see
I mean, so you could, unless you want me to reduce it and just
Well,
have
I'd like to propose that we accept the risk and don't do it.
Good, I just a second. Live on the edge. What was those?
I mean, the doors are closed anyway, like I say.
Yes.
It's only ever our office doors open, that's only because I'm stuck in a room on my own. So then if there is a fire,
But those doors are
It's such a badly designed building.
1 hour fire
they're all
compartment.
fire, yeah. But it's just a recommendation, so.
Design that we can't fit enough people in here. Design so that Joe's kept isolation from other staff members. I'd really like to know the name of the architect. So I'm crossing off of this.
Well, it wasn't just the architect's fault, was it? Some of you agreed to it as well.
Right, shall we...
Second that.
Okay.
Alison seconded.
Okay. So all those in favour of not proceeding with this work then? Right. Okay. Right, so also the related item on agenda, which is consideration of quotation for regular monitoring of fire alarm at Parish Council office as recommended in the fire inspection report. And this is
So this is a
rather
fire alarm.
more-
Well, obviously we've got the
Yes,
burglar
yeah.
system, so if someone broke in, they'd ring me. Not obviously a burglar. This one's a fire one. This one's,
Have we got anything that's worth nicking?
no.
Oh, computers.
I've got computers.
TV screen?
Wonderful screen.
My food. So this is a fire alarm one which operates 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It's the same sort of thing which enables them to monitor our property.
Yeah, that's true.
Obviously let us know if there's a fire. To supply and fit the monitoring device is a one-off fee of £94 and then their monitoring service is £12.50 a month.
And monitoring
Again,
fire
is
alarm.
it-
What's the point of having a fire alarm if something has to monitor it? Or when we need,
because
when we then need
Yeah, if the fire alarm goes off, they'll
Like
contact
when you have smoke alarms at home, you check them every so often and that's what they work.
No, actually, I don't think that's the
No, we
service.
have that anyway, that's the
This
service.
is,
This is
if the fire alarm goes off,
They
somebody
ring.
gets contacted, whereas
Like
at the
the
moment, if the
alarm.
fire alarm goes off,
just
it
wait.
makes a noise and somebody has to respond
Respond.
to that noise. So,
So if we're not a burglar system, if there's a fire, they'll go through the contact list.
It goes to a monitoring station.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's true, we have to give numbers.
We're not used to test
We will
fire
not do
alarms, so
permission.
So it's a burglar alarm
Not
goes
break
off,
the
somebody
alarm.
phones.
Yeah, it rings me. We're
We ring it up so that the fire alarm goes off, it sets off the burglar.
Yeah.
Well, why
Well,
didn't
there's some logic in that, isn't there?
Well, they're different people, but yeah.
How much a month again?
So it's £94 one-off fee to fit the monitoring system, and then it's £12.50 a month.
And there's
The parish councillors are allowed to offer a sort of, competitive.
Is it something you have to think about, or is it
Well,
something...
again, he said both of these that they are recommendations.
Yes.
Yeah, I just think, you know, when they come out and do these, sometimes they're working in huge offices, like where plastic covers, it's a bit different here, but well, that's what I mean. It's
a big building where you
know, if this is a recommendation, but it could be for a building that's got 50 different offices in it, do you know what I mean? Then they would need it, but...
And the other thing is that if the building is remote, and so you know, the chances of somebody noticing if the fire alarm goes off is small, whereas you know this.
I mean, here you've got Morden House, you've got flats,
there are lots of
We've got all some of the fire alarm anyway, haven't we?
We've got all the fire alarm and stuff. We just don't have the monitoring system that contacts everyone when there's a fire.
Well, that's why I've often questioned the pointfulness of alarms anyway. It doesn't nobody takes any notice when I'm really
It's been very long enough, they don't know.
So proposed by Robert, seconded by Alison, that we proceed. So all those in favour of that proposal? And one abstention from Joe.
Is this the same man, 252?
Hold on, I've lost my agenda. What were we doing?
This is the electrical work.
Right, this is someone different.
This is someone different.
This is different. So when we had the electrical survey, if you remember last full parish, there was some remedial work and he wanted me to try and get 3 quotes.
It was reference to consumer unit, the metal taking back the plastic.
Yeah. And there was an item at Mill Lane, I think, that needed doing. So I've got another quote. But the trouble is, the guy that did the original survey, who wants to do remedial work, is a cost of £478.63 plus VAT. The other chap that's come in, and obviously we've given him the same spec, can do it at a cost of £409.20 plus VAT. Problem is, if we get this other chap to do it, who didn't do the survey, the chap that did do the survey has then got to come in to re-inspect to issue the certificate, which would be another cost of £200. Or we can get the guy that, if we want the other guy that didn't do the original work to come in and do the work, and then he's got to test everything else so he can do a certificate. So really, I'm recommending we go with the guy that came in and do the work, because it's going to be cheaper.
I propose that we accept that suggestion.
The point of setting a quote is to make sure that we won't be overcharged and it's clearly
we're not.
Proposed by Brian, seconded by Neil, that we accept the quotation. So all those in agreement.
Lovely, thank you.
Right. 253, hanging baskets.
Right, okay, so hanging baskets.
And there's a complication here.
Yeah, so I've got quotes for the hanging baskets for this year. The chap that did do them for us last year has been charged the same, which is £303. We've had another quote for £990. Same spec, and the third quote, well, we didn't get a third quote, they basically wouldn't quote for us. So that's the cost for the baskets. The issue is watering the baskets. Previously, the groundsman has stood up, well, gone up a ladder with watering cans, which is deemed now not really health and safety and they shouldn't really be doing it. So we need to find a way of watering them. So we can get a new water bowser, which they can put along on the truck or the tractor and then obviously water them, but we haven't got one, so to buy a new bowser with the ladder and that on it is going to be £3,495. Hold on. But that would be, we'd have it and we'd be able to use it for the cemetery. It would save time, because instead of keep filling up little buckets and that, we could do that. So I did think that was a lot of money until I found out that to hire one is going to cost £120 a week. I thought maybe we could hire one. So that would cost £2,400. And then I thought I'd ask a contractor if they'd quote. And they will come out 3 times a week between May and September for £5,610. So they're your options. If you want the baskets, we need to discover a way. And they have to water them because there's a hole in each lamppost. Got 2 half baskets, and there's pipes and holes. So the water, you have to get the water in the holes and the pipes. It goes down and waters from underneath because you can't water from the top and from the soil. And it'll go over everyone.
It's a bit more technical.
It's not a case of just watering a basket.
Our existing boundary is over 20 years old.
Well, that is no, there's no.
I think it's
So it hasn't got any safety
It's got no
features or
safety.
That was my question about it. I've seen it out before.
And I did check with Shelford as well because they have their plants watered by a contractor and they do pay a lot of money.
So clearly we should be in the contracting business.
Yes.
Is there an opportunity for a shared service with our neighbours?
no.
But we can't, us to do that?
Well, not necessarily, but if we...
Well, no, because they've got more baskets than us, so...
Well, hang on. What's the optimisation of the equipment that we're going to buy? And if we could share it with Great Shelford...
Yeah, but they don't have their groundsmen to water them.
No.
They don't have, that's why they're doing contracts, because they don't...
The idea was to make sure there wouldn't be bus shelters.
So yes, basically, but then if we have this, if we do purchase a new van, I mean, we've got it, we can use it. We use it for bonfire night as well, so we need to have water.
Have we got any of the bulbs club?
One quote, did you say?
There is only one.
There is only one. Alan came in and spent time on the internet and looking at it, and looking at an iPad look as well. We did all check.
Have we considered the firm that you know and the firm that I know to do the baskets?
Pardon? Who?
Sorry?
The firm that you know and the firm that I know doing the sort of baskets.
Well, we've already got 3
We've got that
quotes
sorted.
for those. Yeah, I've done that.
We've got a quote from the guy who's done them for ages, I think.
The guy that did them last year,
Way
they
more
were,
than anybody else.
yeah, and we had a lot of compliments from them last year.
But as I say, we need to take these 2 items.
But this is 2 items because this has come to light now. There's no point.
There's no point in approving the purchasing of baskets and we can't
Do we have some money in the budget?
Well, he's got a machinery budget, got money in the service.
Yeah.
So we have to come within the machinery budget.
For me, the point is what Neil
But it's a
raised
whole
was the fact that we've had one for
20 odd years.
20 odd years, so it's £3,500 over 25 years.
I mean,
I think that's up pretty
our
good.
baskets used to cost £900 a year, didn't they?
So there. Wish to speak? You had your hand up. I was just doing
Actually, don't.
Have they asked the guy who does the baskets whether he'd do the watering?
No, he wouldn't. No.
well.
Just say.
I'll second. I'll second.
Can I just...
Yes.
On principle, taking the first quote, I know it's the only quote, and like I said, that makes me feel a bit uncomfortable.
Do you want to look into it then? I mean, you can more than happy. Alan's looked on the internet and then I've gone on as well just to make sure.
There's no case of just one person. I've searched it, just searched it.
Well, actually, so yes.
If you can get it cheaper, then it's brilliant.
Yes.
But that's what we can't do. Health and safety.
What is it?
Water tank, but that.
Oh, right, okay.
Okay. So, I have a proposal, and you are proposing that we purchase a new water bowser.
Most cost effective, yeah.
Cost effective. And are you including that
And
proposal,
include
the quotation, the lowest quotation in the baskets? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So proposed by Robert, seconded by Neil. All those in favour? Thank you.
Hold on the right way. What you know though?
Yes, I'll stay.
Okay.
Okay. Those in
No, that's it, one
Right,
note. Thank you.
Okay. So, community engagement suggestion, councillors and persons.
Okay. This is basically to the fact that increasingly it has become obvious, and I'm sure there'll be other people who have anecdotal evidence to back this up. Various people are unaware of what exactly it is the Parish Council is responsible for. And I think it would be very easy, based on previous conversation that took place here just earlier, also around the fact that we don't have a full complement of councillors, to go out in some capacity and speak with people, because people aren't necessarily aware of when this is happening, despite the fact it's on the website, despite the fact that there are notice boards which tell people when these meetings happen. And it's within our capability, we've got a lot of members to do something along the lines of one of the similar events to the hustings or other events which are planned for Free Church, where we have Parish Council members and Bruce, Reverend Morgan chairs, and members of the public come and ask us questions, or we have a street stall, or we set something up outside the doctor's surgery for a very short amount of time. I'm not asking people to dedicate a day to standing there and talking to members of the public, but anything along those lines, where we can just talk to people and see what issues they have, or explain to them what exactly it is that we do. And in addition to that, there's the possibility for putting something on the website, etc. But visibility is a key issue here. And to make this visible, I think actually going out and talking to people is what's required.
Yes, I mean also nobody will find the website unless they're looking for it.
Well,
and then no one will not find it, then I don't know what your SEO is like, but I would predict what it would be. So you know, if people don't know what Sawston Parish Council is, then they won't know necessarily.
I don't know if other people feel as though that's a valuable use of people's time, or it's a nice idea but not practical, or if people think there's any requirement for it whatsoever.
I think, to be honest with you, I think I like the whole idea. I really do. It's, one of the things is I was at the Shelford's Parish last night, and they do what they call a annual village meeting, which you may want to speak to Mike Dempsey. Ask him how they do theirs, because I think that would be a very straightforward and simple format that we could copy.
So what's the difference between an annual village meeting and an annual parish meeting?
The one, they have two. They have an annual parish AGM and an annual village meeting. It's to do really with what...
We all do. Yes. The annual parish meeting is not a meeting of the parish council. No. It's a village meeting at which the parish council attends and presents news, and it's open to anybody to speak for as long as they like, within reason, within central practice.
That's actually true.
So that's what we have. I mean,
that's a statutory requirement.
It's a statutory requirement.
Yeah. So, I think we could make it more informal.
Well, I believe there was something in one of the local plan meetings where one of the chaps from, well, there's a chap from Baden, I forget his name, but he did mention that they have a similar meeting with cheese and wine, which
that's fine,
just using that step.
You have to sign.
We looked into that and we discovered that we couldn't sell alcohol.
Sorry, actually, I'm not sure I'm not sure that's true at the annual. It's certainly true at parish council meetings, but the annual parish meeting is not a parish council meeting. So it's quite possible that alcoholic beverages might be made available. So we could get points of information. But then it wouldn't do a problem.
I think we kind of tried and failed to make the public meeting a bit nicer. I mean, it still ends up with all of us lined up in a room behind that table.
If that's been tried and tested, then as an alternative, there are...
I think Rob's idea of, hanging around outside Bodgens.
Hanging around outside Bodgens in a similar way that during political season, several of us have done, or Spa. I do think possibly the dock surgery is another alternative because that's a good gathering place. And also something with Your Village, Your Voice, which is the new thing that the Free Church is doing that I'm involved in anyway.
I think it's a great idea.
I was just going to say yes. I think that would be really good. I much prefer the idea of actually going out to the village rather than having an event like that. The problem with that is people have got to turn out to it, and I think you get to more people by having something at the health centre or outside Budgens. The only thing I was going to add is it'd be nice if we can sort of coordinate that with what we're doing on the neighbourhood plan. It'd be nice if we can do and together, because that would kind of be resourceful. And we've got a reason for doing it.
So
you could have a stall at the village fete.
Well, that's something else I wondered about. That would be good too.
Why wouldn't you? I think
You've never won in the past.
I mean, I'll agree with what Becky's saying, having sorted the village fate, but the only thing, the drawback of it is who's going to be actually committed to running the stall.
I'm happy to stand on
so there you go.
I mean, I'm quite happy with it. I don't have an issue with
That's
that.
something-
Not being funny, but your day's pretty full on that day. You know, you're charging around doing a load. And probably that's the one day a year that you really don't want to be. And I'm not, because of your involvement and everything that you do on that day. I mean, I'm sure you go home pretty much shattered.
In which case, that's something that should probably be asked. Who here would be happy to speak with various residents, be on a stall, give half an hour or an hour of their time? Just for that.
Yes, yeah.
Sunday.
I prefer to do it, as you said, outside of the supermarket or health centre.
Sorry, can we just have our meeting here?
I think whilst I agree absolutely with the principal, I think there's a difficulty about are we being asked questions about generally what the parish council does and that sort of thing, or if it strays into being asked about parish council policy or strategy, then individual councillors don't necessarily represent the council. None of us do. And I think, so we just need to make sure that we had kind of rules of engagement. If we were being seen to represent the council, we should be clear about what we can, the territory we can get into in the territory.
There'll be a cheat sheet for public engagement.
Yeah, well, that's a very good idea.
James,
Sorry, Ashley. Yes.
on what Robert is saying, Jennifer to say. You see, the very aspect that you call it a meeting brings about restrictions and a mindset. Would it not be better to have a garden party instead? It sounds much more informal, gives us a chance, all of us chance to mingle with the community who is there.
That's an interesting idea, yes, yeah.
I'm picking up on that.
Yes.
One of the things that we haven't discussed yet, and it's coming up fairly imminently, the style of the parish meeting, the annual parish meeting, has been the same as long as I remember. And somebody mentioned earlier, the nature of all the councillors being in a row, and then with the parishioners that turn up as the audience, as it were, it infers a certain style, which is not really what the parish meeting's about. It's supposed to be all of us coming together and having a discussion, having a presentation of bits of information. So just the layout, we might consider, for example, a horseshoe layout.
We have tried, so tried
I mean,
before and it's difficult because I need to see everyone, but
we need to be
facing.
I mean, certainly in
We did
long
have it in
march,
horseshoe
if
last
you're
time.
chairing, it makes it very difficult to chair. You can't see
No, we did have it in horseshoe.
But it's
It wasn't in horseshoe.
but you can see a meeting from the front.
Yeah.
If everybody was in a U shape, where you
Well, yeah,
Like we were last time.
not councils, I'm talking about everybody. Having a U shape where we basically are just parishioners that happen to be parish councillors.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important that members of the public are aware who is parish council.
Every average badge.
I'm a parish councillor, please ask me a question.
Oh, yes.
Yes, rather than we all
Because that sets us apart.
it makes it adversarial. It's basically
I think possibly there's two things going on here. The annual meeting and this issue of engagement. And just to answer Kieran's point about how we capture what comes to us, I think we do need have some way of logging the sort of issues that people ask us about, and also from the point of view of the neighbourhood plan, who's interested in getting involved. So yeah, we need to do a bit of kind of way of logging that.
Just to say, the annual parish meeting.
Clipboards, yes.
The annual parish meeting is our obligatory annual outreach exercise
Yes.
and ought to be part of the greater outreach that we've just been
I
talking
mean,
about.
I think part of the issue with meetings is that if you have a specific issue which is hot, people can turn up to it. If it's just a general meeting about parish, then you don't. I mean, that's my experience.
Come on,
So maybe the planning was told to us is going to be a reasonable hook.
Well,
Yeah.
so, yes, yeah.
In which case, because the plan is such a big issue and it's going to be raised at the meeting in May, we could just have a stall which is ask me about Sawston's neighbourhood plan. And get some flyers or some leaflets which would be very easy to put together.
Well, a suggestions box.
Suggestion box is a fantastic suggestion because people will be keen on making sure that whatever they want.
And basically, at this stage, we're looking for ideas. You know, so, yes,
Okay, in that case, for that, what do people think is the best way to move forward? We've got some fantastic ideas.
I think the stall at the plate is a good idea. I think that's on that, and I'll be happy to man it for a period.
What's the date of the event?
It's always the first Saturday in June. Sunday in June, yes.
I mean, you've got the stall that you have, you've got budgets where you could stand outside on a Saturday morning, as you rightly said.
Yeah.
The annual parish meeting, obviously, is another opportunity that we need to. Probably too late to do it this year, but maybe in the future we can look at
It's not
that.
too late. Because it hasn't been decided yet.
I mean, I think if you're going to do the stall, you probably need to do it in regular intervals throughout the year rather than just as a one-off. So,
Well, you've got the Christmas, you've got otherwise.
Because I know it's a bit more unsure in the winter than in the summer, but I think it's not too much of a problem.
But it could be, depending how people feel, once a month, where there's just a couple of hours where 2 or 3 parish councillors are happy to go out, and if it's raining, then or snowing or whatever, then
I'm not sure. I would go bi-monthly.
bi-monthly works too, but as long as it's reasonably regular, just so people
Because
start
once a
to see
month, what you tend to get stagnant with.
Yeah.
No, generally, if you go by you would have hopefully sorted something out to report. Once a month, you're pushing that, you're going to be knocking on the door again, asking the same questions. Whereas bi-monthly, I think you'll have a better turnout as well.
Oh, why don't we just see how many volunteers we've got?
Well, at the moment, people who volunteered, I think because that was just a quick head count, and they were already staff person of us, which is fantastic. I mean, another alternative is what's normally referred to Pint of Politics, but I think there's a particular instance being Pint of Parish Council, where we invite people along to a particular pub once every couple of months, and we see if people want to just talk about something that's happening with the parish council. And if only 3 people turn up and they're all parish councillors, then we're not going to pint. And if some people do turn up with various issues, then I think that just having a conversation with people across the table, even if they disagree with you, normally works really quite well.
Yeah.
Especially if they disagree with you.
I think I'd like to check the pub situation with the cloud before we came down there. Actually,
You can't have a formal meeting. You can have an informal meeting.
Well, yeah, I'd like to be quite sure about that. But yeah, I mean, I'll discuss the idea. Just so you know, just want to make sure we're not doing anything out of order. That's all.
We do get people who don't like outside, but we haven't
Can I just say, talking about our public meeting, we had James Sutherland's coming to give a talk, and providing he's not called
Will he not
Romsey
lean against
Mill.
the pillar next time while he's talking?
Romsey Mill are going to come and give an
You just said
update.
it's a casual meeting.
And obviously, neighbourhood plan.
Just said it's
Could we also give, maybe we did last time, give him a set time so he doesn't sort of ramble on about lots of Cambridge City problems and how splendid.
Well, I think
How much time? Because obviously we're not having a meeting now, so we're down to me to sort out. So how long do you want to give them?
I think
15
how many of them
minutes.
got home?
So you've got Romsey Mill, James, and
No more.
And questions as well.
15 minute, I'll put 15 minute presentation and questions.
Yes.
15 minute
I think questions is all right. I think it's the monologue.
It is, yes.
If people have questions, you don't need to constrain them. If nobody's got any
I
questions.
restrict a presentation to 10 minutes. Actually.
10?
Yes.
So which questions you've got 15?
I mean, they did last year actually. When it was
Okay, so 10, if I say just a 10 minute presentation, then we'll open it up to questions.
Yeah, I mean, the questions are the important bit. You know, if they're coming, I wouldn't restrict those.
Okay.
Can we get some news about the hub?
Yeah,
All going to the meetings,
Oh,
though.
it's
well,
24th,
unfortunately,
there's a meeting on the 24th
Yeah,
of April. I have had it confirmed that they are going to be parking at the school.
Brilliant.
That's good.
Where we said,
I don't know. They just said that something else had been arranged, and I asked where, and she confirmed that. They thanked us for the alternatives because obviously we didn't say no, but yes, so they are. Yeah, so they will be parking on the school site.
Around the community engagement thing, it sounds like there's a lot of people interested, and if people are, then with the rest of the parish councils, or I suppose put a motion forward, I'm happy to start looking at organising things, and if people are interested in volunteering, come to me at the end. But otherwise, what kind of proposal?
I guess if you just put something together and then we can send it out to everyone.
Would you need a formal proposal that Rob will coordinate volunteers and produce a sort of print sheet or sort of guidance on
Your champion.
Yes.
Okay, in that case.
Who's proposing Rob? Kieran?
Well, I just did, didn't I?
Sign him up.
Well, you know, don't turn down a volunteer.
No, exactly.
So it's proposed by Kieran, seconded by Beck. Was that? Public engagement champion. Is that those in favour of that proposal? Okay. Go on, you vote.
It's unanimous, Rob.
Thank you very much for taking that up. Right, so we move on to 255 now. Thank you, Carl. That's really
I'm going to
nice.
pass it round to put pictures in.
Really nice, actually. I think yes.
So thank you, Carl.
Can you put that up somewhere?
Yes. No, I just wanted everyone to see it, so it's...
If we pass this out,
Yeah.
when it gets to kneeling, hold it up, and then it can be on the ticket.
Joe, you
Thank you for their
don't get many
donation.
thank you cards.
No, I know, that's a nice big one. I should put that
We haven't
on.
done anything to the citizens, have we?
Not yet, no, not yet.
Whilst that's going round, can we move on to 256? The County Council update has been circulated.
That was lovely. You've only got today because Tony already didn't send it to me till about 12 o'clock today, which is why you haven't had it in advance. Family commitment.
If you want to hold that up,
Very nice.
So yes, you've got on your table, so you had the update from Tony and then also a greater city give back Wednesday, which you sent through as well.
That's the second half of it.
Oh yeah, I've done this. We've just done that.
Yes, I printed one out.
Oh, no, yeah.
Right, on Councillor Orgy's letter, he brought up on about the 1307 local liaison forum workshop. We had our first workshop. There were some interesting points raised. The issue, one of the big issues,
Who's had a workshop?
the local liaison forum.
The committee of that forum.
Yeah.
So when I got to the first meeting and saw David on the committee, who appointed the committee?
They asked the chairman of the Parish Council to attend.
Because isn't that? I mean, it's just interesting that we weren't asked about who we wanted our representative on to
Did
be.
they ask the chairs?
Well, I wasn't asked to arrive, so...
It was the way that they wanted to do it.
Yeah.
We had no influence on that whatsoever.
No.
But have you been to the committee meeting this?
No, I went to a workshop.
You went to the workshop?
Yeah.
Was that public?
No, that was purely for the committee.
Are you on the committee?
Yes.
But you just said they asked the chair.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, but I'm also on the City Deal Assembly.
I mean, I'm
So it's all part of the joint, it's all part of the process.
Sorry, on what?
The City Deal Assembly.
Oh, right.
So were you there as a City Deal Assembly member?
I was actually there in participating in replacement of the chair at this one.
Oh, you were there as deputy chair of Sawston?
Because the chair couldn't be there. So, it has nothing to do with me, it was thrown in my lap.
If I hadn't been paying attention, that could have quite easily gone past. We weren't informed as a parish that it was going on. We weren't
Also
informed
informed as a parish.
of the Linton meeting.
Yeah, the parish was informed. Letters went down.
Yes, it was.
The parish was fully informed, letters went down.
Yeah.
And emails. Well and truly informed.
Yeah, I think we were.
So the whole parish was informed.
1307.
They then decided that the best way forward is to have the chairs of the parishes as to form the committees. That was the legislation that they were coming up with. I went on to this workshop because, as you were aware of that meeting, there was a lot of issues.
Dissatisfaction.
Yes, very much so. And at the executive board, it was agreed that they would have these workshops and they would look at all options, not set options. And I'm looking at you, Bum, because you were there and you know exactly what I'm going with this. So we had this first workshop. Much the same. One of the big disappointing things that came out of it was they presented us with everything that we objected to, basically, and said, this is what we want you to agree to. And we sort of said, no, the idea of this was to have a blank worksheet. We would come forward with suggestions. They would then look at them, and then it would be open to the whole parishes and the public for them to have their input. And this is how the whole process was going. So there were some great suggestions put forward. Babraham are particularly upset due to the fact that it also came out that they haven't consulted with the landowner as to where the Carlton Ride's going to go, which doesn't help. So it's pointed out to them, how can you ask us to make any form of decision or idea if we don't know where we can start or go or end, of which the officers sort of stand there, and you can imagine we're a bit red-faced and all the rest of it.
Who's running this?
It's a outside group called they're supposed to be experts in this. Supposed to be. I use the term.
Without understanding the meaning of the words either local or liaison.
So we had that, and basically they split it up into 4 sections. So they've done it by cycling, walking, highways, 1307, and try to make it more wider spread. So we put a lot of ideas in. They've gone away. They're going to come up with their scenarios, and then we move forward from there. But I just want you to have a more detailed explanation.
Will we be able to see minutes of the meeting, agendas of new meetings?
You'll be seeing agendas of new meetings.
Can we contribute?
Well, to the new meetings, public ones, yeah, absolutely.
No, this.
No, not
this
to
workshop.
No, yeah, that's the idea that the workshop would do the work, and then it goes to the public, and then the public, because what we're trying to do is we're the ones that listen to the parishes and the public, and we're trying to get the officers to see our way.
Can you let us know who's on workshops, please?
Yeah, I'll find that detail out.
I'm just quite interested to know the mechanics that's going forward in this, because it all seems a little bit...
What?
Non-transparent.
It's extremely transparent.
Super. So, It'd be nice to see who's on the workshop.
Right.
No, it's not. It's a cross-party. It's everything that's involved. It's completely neutral.
Right. Are there any other items
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned on the Greenway project. After reading it, there's no. I can't see any mention of an upgrade of the pathway or the cycleway that you use in the morning. And I think that's critical in all honesty.
It's like, what? You mean, like, I think there is. If you go on, it's an
The one from Sawston to Wilson.
sorry.
That's the one that's not included.
Oh, right, okay. There's a sources table for one.
And they haven't included it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a mistake. I did bring that up at this workshop, that needs to be included. So that's one of the big disappointments I have with the Green List.
Okay, any other points from the county council reports? No? Okay. In that case, I'll move on to councillors' issues. So, here are the clockwise, Mike.
No, I keep quiet.
Right.
Road clustering after Storm Doris. Do we have any way of asking the county council if they
They're supposed to be coming out over that mileage, isn't it? I know, we keep asking them.
Yeah, I've raised it with Joe and I've reported it directly on their website.
I'll trace it, but he's supposed to be calling me back.
Contact Mike Hills at South County District Council. Honestly, make a point, no, stir it up a bit.
ask him nicely?
Chairman, I just want my information.
Sorry, Stuart. No, sorry.
Come back.
Sorry, I thought you finished. I thought you finished. I apologise.
Well, we've spoken, so that's fine. There's just one other thing. Cathy's Walk's going to get overgrown again, Joe. I don't know if we can have a word with the property owner to cut the hedge back. Actually, it's the one with Jason. There's a footpath to Whittlesford. Is it number 1? No. I don't know what the number is.
Oh, footpath 9.
Yeah, so it's from the high street to the junction with Cadley's Walk.
Yes,
thank you.
And it's getting there's a privet hedge that the owners have, and it overgrows every year, and it's
Do the owners trim it, or is it the county council?
No, the owners.
It's a hedge.
They do it. They just need nudging.
Yes, okay.
So from High Street to Junction, Cattley's Walk.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, okay.
Mr. Chairman, it was nice that we gave the planning permission for the Greyhound. Yes.
Yes, yeah.
And it's nice to see some improvements being made there. But I feel would it be appropriate for us to put a condition that they improve the driveway as well? My reason being very simple. That is an opportunity we have to improve the face of Sawston.
Yes.
Now, if we don't put conditions, what happens? Things don't improve the way they should.
I'm not sure that it's possible to put it as a planning condition on an application which doesn't specifically relate to that. So it's a difficult. I mean, I take your point entirely. It does need redoing, but I don't think you can make that a condition on the application they have for.
Wasn't it predominantly internal?
We put the exterior is far more.
Well, we were just asked to
Yes.
internal review, and to maintain the listed building areas.
A planning condition is there to mitigate the effects of an application. So that if say you were applying, you had a housing estate and it was likely to cause runoff. You just have to have a condition which related to reduction of flooding. It's that type of thing, a condition which is required to make an application acceptable.
But it's fair to say, isn't it, Mr. Chairman, that if, for example, as we've talked about in the neighbourhood plan, we could specify actually the way that the public realm appeared on the high street, if we got it as a business development area. Because that's one of the things that I'm keen on doing. If we go ahead with the neighbourhood plan, I'd like to get behind that. And so, for example, when I spoke to Colin Colin Miles, Colin Miles, who owns Somersault Productions, who just occupied the Co-op building, and he's quite keen on doing something in the community as well. So there's some willingness from the business community to make the whole of the High Street area a more vibrant and prosperous place.
I think you certainly encourage people to do it voluntarily, but unless it was in such a state that you put a section 215 order on it, which is basically to repair derelict buildings, then, it has
but if you look at examples like Exhibition Road in London, where they've done the whole thing, and it's effectively pedestrianised with cars going along it with caution.
One of the advantages of the neighbourhood plan is that it gives you a bit more clout when discussing planning applications. It gives you a bit more control over the neighbourhood.
It does have to pass the test.
Because I think you can make specifications for new developments as well, and for higher sustainability plan. So you can set a sort of minimum level that's higher than
Yes, okay, Kira, was it relevant to that particular point?
It was. I was just going to say, if we wanted, there's nothing to stop us writing to the owners of the ground to say that we think it would be good if they could improve their driveway. So, if you wanted to propose that, Rashmi, then we could decide whether or not...
You can't make a proposal against those issues, but you can have it from a generalised information.
I'm just slightly concerned about putting pressure on a business which might be quite close to the edge of commercial.
You'd be better off having a...
We can create a design statement for an area.
This whole purpose was just asking so I can not only understand, but also I would very much like in the next meeting to have an agenda. What are the councillors' thoughts of what needs to be done in Sawston to improve?
All of us have different
That's what the neighbourhood plan is. That's literally the neighbourhood plan. What should the neighbourhood
Well, that would be a good thing to bring up at the public meeting. It would be a good thing to bring up at the public meeting.
But if you are clear what the issues are as well, and then listen to the public, it does make a lot of difference.
Well, I don't think you should have decided what the answers are before you answer.
Being aware and deciding is two different things. I'm talking of being aware.
Being
aware of what are the issues and what we can do in terms of improving things. Bear in mind, I came here in '92. This village was such a nice village at the time. It still is, I'm not saying it's wrong. But it's not what it used to be. Something is very much lacking.
But the street scene is changing anyway. It's a whole new... There's two big presentations out there about town centres and street developments. And it is a completely changing landscape. Your bog standard sweet shop, shoe shop, clothes shop, men's shop, lady shop, and all that are more or less things of the past to a degree. They're looking at things like your massage parlours, your nail parlours, your accountants, your estate agents. They tend to be the way it is because of online and town facilities.
At the last three meetings, we talked about the state of the high street and being flexible on the usage of the offices or the buildings which are vacant. So we stick to just one criteria, not budge, and not be flexible. You will not have an accountant there. you not have other professional people coming there who can occupy.
But you don't have the right to do that as the parish council. But you're very restricted in what you can say. And a neighbourhood plan will be our best bet for having any influence.
I appreciate that.
But controlling that kind of environment is something that even qualified professional planners have trouble. Everybody wants to preserve village high streets, and nobody yet is coming up with good ways of doing it.
I mean, one thing you can do in neighbourhood plan is restrict changes in use, but because I think that discussion is really getting.
Yeah.
So, well,
Okay, turn to two things. First of all, thanks Joanne for bump.
good.
Apparently we've got more copies left around somewhere, so that's great. Secondly, the hustings, which are going to be for the county council candidates. A couple of people here are going to be present for the hustings. They're going to be on the 26th of April, which is a Wednesday at 7:15. I can send details out. It would be fantastic if people turned up and asked questions of your candidates. And I can provide these details for anyone at the end who requires them. And I've given a poster to Joe as well for the office. And finally, the South Planning bod who came and talked to us, whose name I've forgotten.
Kelly.
Thank you. He said that he could send us some surveys or studies about various planning issues that he looked at before. Have we heard back from him on that?
Heard anything on that?
Okay. Would it be possible to send an email? Because I think those would be quite useful for them.
Yeah, we do that.
He seems to be hungry.
Alright, otherwise that's everything. Thank you very much.
Nothing from me, thanks.
No.
Okay.
Are we going to put the neighbourhood plan on the agenda for the public meeting? So that we can
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to do that.
Definitely.
Hopefully if this person comes well, then
Yes,
it's a good place to start to draw.
That's right, and again, what the people there think are the issues, so we get a sort of a start. Yeah.
It would be also very useful, I think, to find out whether there are any professional planners, especially retired professional planners in the village, so everyone wants to snitch on them, because I think a bit of professional expertise would be really, really worth having. And I think a lot of the research into neighbourhood plan says, if you've got that kind of professional input from anybody in the village, actually identifying those people who might be able to give that input is a key part of assembling the team.
Would there be a sense if somebody who's running a neighbourhood plan, I'm thinking out of area, or just getting somebody that's actually done one along, if we could.
But I was thinking to start with, do we not just want to, if we have the professionals from South County as well, and ask questions, and just what we're processing, otherwise it will be a whole meeting about neighbourhood plan.
But I think Brian's right, rather than get someone council spiel, it would be very useful to hear from anybody nearby who's actually done one.
Well, no, I don't think anyone in South County
No,
has
there's none that have been completed yet. And the other thing is
It's just consultation on the boundaries.
Noise will go at those lectures.
I mean, that's
it's
useful.
time now, isn't it? Yeah.
The conversation about the boundaries,
Yeah, so can we move on? Okay, so was there anything else?
Quick update on the speed box, which is we stalled slightly this month with. I've asked for some quotes. Quote that I'm waiting for. They did send me some information through. The information I got was more akin to me converting the high street into a motorway, because I don't think I was doing, was it? No. And it was slightly more than the 2000. Which we won't go through that neighbourhood plan. Also, we're talking about meeting people. I did on my visits to my office.
Yes.
I do get people come up to me, and they do voice their concerns. Some of the things we can do something about, something we can't. One of the ones they do moan about to me about, and it's not something we can actually do, is parking outside the post office. Now, I can go, a lot of these people go, I haven't got access to the internet, but I have reported it. So encourage, because there's a leak.
Yes, there is.
Can I just encourage others? Because I can only report it once.
Yeah.
I can't report it half a dozen
I've
times.
reported it once.
Right. I just encourage people to do that. But also the other one is,
You can report multiple instances of it.
could do.
So yes, well, no, it's not just one person.
We also got a different colour each time. Why can't you report a different colour each time?
Yeah, or a different, or the same car, or a different Anyway, yes, okay.
Also, abandoned cars in Sawston is one that's come up to me.
Yes.
Which have also, I found one that's got, actually, because you go on the DVLA now, can't you, and you can find out. So that's got two actually, that actually no record whatsoever.
They will come and take away cars.
They will, yes.
Well, they will, I haven't reported them, so there's two that in hand. I've got two that are parked, that are statutory off-road notices, but on the public road. And I've got two others that actually, they're fully taxed and licensed, but they've been stationed now for over a month. And they told me they've been before Christmas, so...
Yes.
No,
No,
I've got that one.
You stop parking down there.
All of which I'm looking into.
Yeah. Okay.
So I won't go ahead with converting them into
That's very appreciated.
Thank you. Only about, as I walk down the footpath from Church Lane to Link Road, there's quite a bit of litter down there, Joe, some of the fish and chip bags. Like these. Sorry,
Okay.
thank you.
I've got the usual ear bashing about dog poo, mainly around the Bolt area. Parish Council ladies slipped in something and badly gashed the knee open. So, I don't know what we can do about it. We keep reporting it. The person did say that there's no signs down there saying, can you please clear up? I don't know if that's relevant.
Everybody
It's a general order as far as building up roads and building areas are concerned.
There's a dog poo problem on the paper and cycleway as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Where a lot of runners go.
there's a district-wide bylaw actually on that, which was done years ago actually. Yes, okay.
Oh, no. Just, I had an email today. So the Cambridgeshire and Peterborough Police and Crime Commissioner, Jason, is going to do a Parish Council conference. It's on Friday the 11th of August at Huntingdon. So you can discuss local matters with him. You're all writing this down, but he's saying, due to the number of town and parish councils across Cambridgeshire and Peterborough, I'm unable to attend individual parish and town council meetings. I've therefore decided to host my own conference at police headquarters. Spaces are limited, one representative from each parish council. So, what do you want me to do about that?
Funny, I think we should try and persuade him, because we are a large parish, and I think we should try and persuade him to come and visit us. We can't discuss with 105 other villages, parishes, all their problems.
No, I mean, we actually,
Shall we to ask the question and see first?
I think so.
Without links to Campersford and Bacon, we can go ahead as well.
Yeah, exactly. I feel quite strong that there's any shit for himself and come and see us.
What, to us and then we'll invite us around it?
It has to be, to concentrate on the local figures, it has to be as small as you could possibly get. I agree with Bailey and Pat, that's what
If you wanted to add some weight to the invitation, you could say to Parish Council.
yes.
And it's still quite
close. Okay.
Wonderful.
Right. If there's any further business, there's meeting.